Hello, my name is Catherine Neville, and we're here today to speak with Professor Denis O'Mullane, who is this year's recipient of the Alumni Achievement Award for Voluntary Service to University College Cork. Denis is Emeritus Professor of Preventive and Paediatric Dentistry. He is a world expert in fluoridation. He's published widely in the epidemiology of dental decay. He's mentored generations of undergraduate and postgraduate dental and science students. And he is a hurling supporter extraordinaire. Denis, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Catherine.
How do you feel now that you're the recipient of the Alumni Achievement Award for this year?
Well, it is wonderful to be receiving an award for work which I have been doing, but which I love doing. It is nice to get an award for something that you really love doing.
And you've loved being a student in UCC from the beginning, is that the case?
Well, it goes back a long time. I started my undergraduate career in October 1955. So that's a while ago, and I enjoyed my years as an undergraduate. My classmates and I have remained friends ever since. I suppose 1958 was a huge year in my undergraduate time because I was invited to become a member of the Cork City Choral Society, which had been invited to go to the World Fair in Brussels under the conductorship of Dr. Staff Gebrurs. I joined the choir, and also as an Irish dancer, came off the boat having successfully completed the tour in Brussels, played hurling with Grenada. We won our match. We went on to win the Mid-Cork Championship for the first time ever in that year, 1958. Unfortunately, we were beaten in the county final by Ballymartle. And it was only last Sunday week that Grenada managed to win the county championship after all those years, in which we beat Kilbrinn by 2 points on a very, very cold and wet and miserable day down in Park Earing.
But it was worth the wait, was it?
It was worth the wait. It was one of the best games I was ever at.
Excellent.
And we had a player on the team, Tom Kenny. He had 2 All-Ireland hurling medals from Grenada, but this county championship medal was as important to him as those 2 All-Ireland medals.
Very good. And obviously you played hurling yourself, both for Grenada and for UCC?
I played most of my hurling with Grenada because at the time you had to declare for either your home team or for UCC. So that is why I played for the pride of the parish. Was equal to my pride of my university. So in later years I became quite involved with hurling in UCC. I was lucky to have been asked to organise the 100th anniversary of the Fitzgibbon Cup in 2012. And Jimmy McAvoy and myself and Paddy Crowley and John Granger and others put together a great celebration to mark the centenary of the Fitzgibbon Cup with a match down in Mardyke, 100 years of Fitzgibbon Cup. So
and that was another successful occasion. Then.
That was another a highlight of my time in my contact, which I maintain with the hurling club in UCC, which is a hugely successful sporting club in UCC. Fitzgibbon Cups are now becoming the norm for us, for UCC.
Very good. And I understand that your love of education and sport are entwined and expressed in the input you had into the B.Ed in sports and exercise?
Yes, that was a very important milestone in my life. Kieran O'Dowd asked me if I would act with him in establishing a degree in sports coaching in UCC. We took a long time in planning this. I suppose the big decision at the time was that the course would be cited in the Faculty of Arts rather than in the Faculty of Science or of Medicine, because we both felt that sport in Ireland, or indeed in many other countries, is a cultural issue. What do people talk about on Monday morning? You know, it's such a big cultural issue. So we felt that the right faculty for this degree to be cited in was in the Faculty of Arts. And of course, it's different also because they also do the higher dip.
Yes.
And they also, in addition to taking a sports coaching program, they also take a subject that they can subsequently teach, like Irish, English, botany, biology, etc. So it's a very successful degree, and I'm very pleased to have been associated with its development in UCC.
Yes, I understand it was successful from the beginning, attracting some of the best students.
Oh, attracting some of the best students and some of the best players, and it was also successful from the outset in that the employment rate of the people who completed the course was very, very high. They were sought after in many institutions as being well taught, a rounded degree, not and it was not entirely performance oriented. It was to do with coaching and making sure that they will teach both the average player and the high performing player as well.
About participation then.
Yes, participation is the name of the game, yes.
And Denis, in relation to participation, you have been a key figure in growing the dental alumni of the dental school and organising various reunions. Could you tell us a little about that and what that means to you?
Well, that means an awful lot to me. I do believe that it is something that was, to some extent, not neglected, but it was a bit haphazard until such time as we decided to make it formal, because one of the things about dentistry is that students get very, very friends, become great friends. We spend 5 years together, and every class will tell you that they have remained constant friends throughout their career. So I think alumni is important. I think also we probably could make more of it in the future by organising more events, and people love to come back and talk. The example of the Fitzgibbon Cup get-together, that was an extraordinary event. I've never seen such a high level of conversation as between teams going back all those years. The same is true of dental graduates. They love to get together and talk.
And now we have 100 years of dental graduates as the dental school is celebrating its 100th anniversary. And again, you played a key role in that celebration by co-authoring a book on the history of the dental school. Could you tell us a little bit about that, and perhaps a little bit about the launch as well?
Well, it all happened by a conversation I had with the dean at the time, Finbar Allen, asking to know would I be interested in writing a history of the dental school and hospital, because it was going to be celebrating its centenary in 1913. This was in February 2012. I said perhaps I might be. I spoke to my very good friend Johnny Murphy, who reminded me quite clearly, as Johnny is unable to do in a very direct fashion, that whilst Denis, you might be a good dentist, which he said I was, but you're not a historian. So he reminded me that if I was to take on the job, I should also ask for the help of a historian. As it happens, Donal O'Driscoll, who was a member of the history department, said that there was a young man from with a very Cork name, John Borgo Novo, from California, in fact, who was available at the time to help out. So he joined the team And so did Tim Holland, my very good friend from the faculty, from the paediatric department. So the three of us got together, and it was the most enjoyable exercise, different from anything else that I've ever done. Never worked with a historian before, but this chap, John Borgonovo, was wonderful to work with. They think differently about how things are in sequence, and he brought in the fact that the school was set up at a time of revolution, First World War, Second World War, recessions, depressions, you name it. He captured the whole lot. It's a wonderful read, and it was the most enjoyable exercise. And the launch last Monday night was, again, one of the highlights of my career. One of the highlights of my career.
Yes, several hundred people from many generations turned out to the launch.
Yes, they did indeed. It was my links with 1958 were again came up because at that launch was a man called Pat Gleason who qualified in 1943, and he was there with his wife Rita, who happened to be a very talented musician, and she was the co-conductor of our choir in Brussels in 1958. So history tends to come round, and they were both at the function, which was lovely to see.
Now, we've established that 1958 was an important year and that you did well for Grenna but didn't get the county cup. But how did you do in Brussels at with the choir?
We did extraordinarily well. Dr. Safka Brewers was the carillioner with the cathedral in Cove. So, and he was Belgian, so we got a very warm welcome. We had a travelling tenor with us, professional tenor, called the great Frank Ryan. Not too many people nowadays will remember Frank Ryan, but he was regarded very highly. He was a bit of a character. He travelled with us, and we had a wonderful time. I also participated on the Irish dancing team, so I can't claim that I danced for Ireland, but I danced at the World Fair in 1958.
The forerunner of river dance.
That's right. That kept me fit for the Grenna hurling team as well.
Super. Denis, in your professional career, you've served as the Chief Dental Officer. You've monitored and researched the effects of water fluoridation in Ireland over many decades now. Can you give us some of your observations on dentistry in the past 40 years, since the 1960s, since you qualified?
Well, I suppose the opportunity writing the book that has just been published concentrated my mind on the changes that have taken place in dentistry. The fact, for instance, that when I trained as a dentist between 1955 and 1960, we trained standing up. Now dentists sit down. The patient is in the prone position. The equipment is very much more sophisticated. The equipment is such that it is more comfortable for the patient. That section of the book is entitled "From the Vertical to the Horizontal." Okay, and also another section in the book, and big change, is in the method of teaching. Our teachers at the time would arrive in to give a lecture in anatomy, and they would have armed with 4 different coloured chalks, and they would proceed to draw on the blackboard the muscles of mastication and the relationship with spaces and nerves and arteries and veins. Nowadays, of course, that's all done by the PowerPoint presentation, and indeed the section that deals with that in the university at the moment, run by Betty Higgs, I think it's Betty Higgs, no, it's not.
And Marion McCarthy.
And Marion McCarthy. Teaching and learning. It's a wonderful unit. But and there is Tracy Collins, is it? Some of the lady that runs the and it's called the Blackboard. So I was giving a lecture recently, and she asked me, did I intend to use the Blackboard? I reminded her that the Blackboard meant something else to me. That's what it's called.
Yes, that's
so
right.
That's so it's that section of the book is from Blackboard to Blackboard. New methods of teaching, and the teaching and learning unit, in my view, do a wonderful job, and I'm very grateful to have linked up with Marion McCarthy, Betty Higgs, Eleanor O'Sullivan from the dental school, the number of staff of the dental school and hospital who have taken the courses in teaching and learning and the new technologies and the new approaches and the different methods of learning. This is something was quite new to me, but Marion McCarthy and her team do a wonderful job. So I'd like to acknowledge that at this time.
You still advise the Department of Health on dental matters. What kind of, looking forward, what do you see for dentistry and for Denis Summerland for the next few years?
Well, what I see for dentistry is that I do believe that there will be more and more collaboration between the two dental schools. I do believe that that there are tremendous opportunities for both for research, both for teaching, and also for indeed administration. Between the two dental schools. So I can see more and more collaboration between the two dental schools. Obviously, we are very excited about the new appointment as Chief Dental Officer, Dr. Denis Kavanagh, who was one of our Cork students and PhD students, and I'm sure the changes that Denis has in mind will be such that the patient will benefit enormously in future years. For me, I don't do retirement. I suspect that I will continue to take an active interest in all the goings on in the developments, in the new research projects that are taking place at the moment. So I continue to enjoy getting up in the morning, having things to do, working with very talented people. And we should remember that dental students and dental graduates are very highly talented people. And I expect that and it's been a pleasure, an honour, and a very exciting experience to have been associated with such many brilliant people throughout my career.
And I'm sure it was a real pleasure for all of them to be associated with you, Denis. So thank you very much for speaking with us this afternoon.
Thank you very much indeed for the opportunity for doing so. Thank you.